photosynthesis. Why is it that only green-colored plants carry out photosynthesis, and why not green-colored animals like birds could not carry out photosynthesis? These questions remained unanswered until the scientists studied about the green-colored substance of plant parts. Engine house proposition came into formation after several experiments. Other scientists have also located the site of photosynthesis and they even detached it. In the year 1817, two scientists named Pelletier and Caventou extracted a green-colored substance from the leaves and it was termed as chlorophyll. It was also found that the other pigments present in the plants also help in the process of photosynthesis by passing the energy of sunlight trapped by them to chlorophyll. Let us learn about the location of photosynthesis in a leaf. The correct location of the photosynthetic part containing chlorophyll, was not known till another 60 decades after Pelletier and Caventou found chlorophyll. It was believed that the photosynthesis was distributed in the cells of green plant parts. But in 1883, Julius van Sachs found that chlorophyll present in plant cells is observed only in organelles within the cell but not through the entire cell. These organelles were termed as chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are present in large numbers in the cells, that is around 40 to 100 of parts such as the stomata, gourd cells and ground tissues of plants. In 9th class, we already learnt about the chloroplast. The transverse sections of leaf and chloroplast are shown on screen. Now, let us learn how photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast. The process of photosynthesis takes place in two major phases. They are light reaction, dark reaction. In light reaction, light plays an important role. Here, a series of chemical reactions takes place one after another, initiated by light. Hence, this phase is technically termed as photochemical phase. The reactions of the light take place in thylakoid membrane which is present in chlorophyll. Thylakoids are termed as grana of chloroplasts. Following are the steps involved in light reaction. Step 1. When sunlight falls on the plant, the chlorophyll present on the leaf absorbs light energy and becomes activated. The absorbed energy excites electrons to the higher energy level. Step 2. This energy is used to split the water molecule into two component ions. It is given by the equation shown on the screen. The above reaction is termed as photolysis, which means splitting by using light. That is, photo, light, lysis, breaking. Step 3. The highly reactive ions of water split in two different directions as hydroxyl and hydrogen ions. The hydroxyl ions, through a series of steps, produce water and oxygen. The water produced may be used inside the plant and the gas oxygen is released into the atmosphere. The hydrogen ions undergo series of changes in dark reaction. Adenosine triphosphate ATP and nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide hydrogen phosphate NADPH are produced at the end of the light reaction. These are called as assimilatory powers. These ATP and NADPH are used in sugar making process. Let us learn about dark reaction. The term dark reaction does not imply that this reaction occurs only in the dark or during the night. This reaction indicates that it do not require light energy. However, it occurs simultaneously with the light reaction. Hydrogen ions produced in photolysis are instantly picked up by a special compound NADP to form NADPH. During the dark phase reaction, the hydrogen of the NADPH combines with the carbon dioxide with the help of ATP energy in order to produce glucose. This reaction occurs in a number of steps by using some special intermediate compounds, mainly RUBP, ribulose biphosphate, and enzymes. Finally, the obtained glucose is converted into starch. During the process of photosynthesis, several proceedings occur in the chloroplast. Some of them are converting light energy into chemical energy, splitting of water molecule, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Once light energy has been captured, it can help the dark reactions to initiate several events, even in the dark, and some may continue even in the absence of light. Light-dependent events or reactions are called light reactions, and they take place in grana, while the rest are called dark reactions and they occur in the stroma. Plants have the capacity to work under any situations, such as from very lighted hot-dry conditions to wet, humid, dim light conditions. The requirement of light and other factors change from one plant to another. Let us now look into the concept map of photosynthesis. After learning about nutrition in plants, let us learn about the same in animals. It is called heterotrophic nutrition. Each organism is habituated to live in its own environment. The form of nutrition taken by the animal varies based on the type and availability of food materials and also how it is obtained by the organism. For example, if the food source is static, such as grass, or movable, such as a deer, there is a difference in how the food is accessed and how the parts of body are involved in obtaining the food by a cow and a lion. Different organisms have different strategies for consuming the food. Few organisms break down the food material outside the body and then digest it. Examples: bread molds, yeast, mushrooms, etc. Some other organisms, like amoeba, take in whole food material inside their bodies and then break down into small pieces. This depends upon the digestive system of each organism. Some other organisms, like cuscuta, lice, leeches, and tapeworms, take the nutrition from plants and animals without killing them. Let us learn how organisms obtain their nutrition. The digestive system is different in different organisms. For example, in a single-celled organisms like amoeba, the food may be consumed from the entire surface, but as the size of the organism increases, the parts become specialized and perform different functions. The nutrition in amoeba is shown on screen. The amoeba takes in food by using pseudopodia as shown in image. This pseudopodia looks like temporary finger extensions of the cell surface which fuses over the food particle, forming food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, the complex substances of food particles are crushed down with the help of enzymes into simpler ones and then diffuse into the cytoplasm. The undigested food particles are moved down to the surface of the cell and are thrown out. In other unicellular organisms like Paramecium, the cell has a definite shape and the food is taken in from a particular place, and this food is moved to the place by the movement of cilia that covers the entire surface of the cell where the food gets swallowed. Let us learn in detail about parasitic nutrition in Cuscuta. A particular species in Cuscuta is dodder. It does not contain any leaves. It is a twining, parasitic plant that belongs to morning splendor family. These species generally contain 170 twining species and are broadly distributed throughout the moderate and tropical regions of the world. The dodder species does not contain chlorophyll. It absorbs food through haustoria, which are root-like organs that penetrate towards the tissue of a host plant and even may kill it. But it has been found that Cuscuta reflexa contains a very small amount of chlorophyll. The thin, string-like stems of the dodder may be of different colors like yellow, orange, pink or brown. The dodder's flowers are of tiny yellow or white bell-like, lobed corollas, united petals. Let us now learn about the formation of dodder. The dodder seed grows slowly and forms an anchoring root and grows in a spiral fashion and reaches a host plant. It then waves around the stem of the host plant and throws out haustoria, which diffuses it. The water for the species is drawn through the haustoria of the corresponding host plant stem and xylem, and the nutrients are drawn from its phloem. In the meantime, the root decays after stem contact has been made with a host plant. As the dodder grows on, it sends out new haustoria and sets strongly on the host plant. Suppose, after growing a few spirals, if the host decays, then the dodder finds another way and continues to wave and branch until it looks like or becomes a fine, densely tangled web of thin stems enveloping the host plant. Now, let us learn about nutrition in human beings. When compared to the digestive system of other organisms, human digestive system is very complex, where different parts perform different functions by using various digestive juices and enzymes. Image on the screen shows the alimentary canal of man. The alimentary canal is a long tube extending from the mouth to the anus, as indicated in the image. This tube has various regions which perform different functions. Generally, every one of us get doubt about what happens to the food once it enters into our body and how it gets digested in the alimentary canal. Let us learn more. Usually, everything we eat passes through the same digestive area. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. Naturally, the food has to be processed to generate simpler particles from the complex substances, because the particles must be small enough to be picked up by our body. The texture also needs to be easily absorbed. Let us discuss in detail about the steps involved in the passage of food through alimentary canal or gut. The food we eat is chewed by our teeth in the mouth. This chewed food is mixed with saliva to make it wet and slippery, also called as mastication. The saliva is produced by 3 pairs of salivary glands, out of which 2 pairs are located at the side of the jaw and below the tongue, while the other pair is located in the palate. Saliva contains an enzyme amylase named as ptyalin, which helps to break down the complex substances of food into simpler ones so that they can be used by the body with the help of enzymes. This process is termed as digestion. The tongue helps in mixing the food and forwarding it to the next part, and the lower jaw also helps in the whole process. These parts help in the smooth passage of food through our alimentary canal to the stomach. Let us learn the chemical nature of saliva by doing the litmus paper activity. Here, let us perform an activity. where the acidic and basic nature of food materials are tested using litmus paper. Click each tab to know more. Take two litmus papers, one red and the other blue. Touch the two litmus papers one by one to your tongue before taking food into the mouth. Observe whether the litmus papers change the color. It is observed that the color of the two litmus papers remain unchanged. Now, let us do an activity to learn about the nature of our saliva after chewing the food. Repeat the same test after chewing the food, orange, and swallowing it. Now observe the change in color of the two litmus papers. It is observed that the color of blue litmus paper turns into red, and the color of the red litmus paper remains unchanged. Generally, in neutral state, color of blue litmus and red litmus paper remains unchanged. In acidic state, color of blue litmus paper changes into red, and red litmus paper remains unchanged. In base state, color of blue litmus paper remains unchanged and red litmus paper turns into blue. Thus, from this experiment, we have understood that before chewing the food, neither the red litmus nor the blue litmus paper has changed the colors. This is because our tongue is slightly alkaline in nature, neutral. After chewing the acidic food orange, then the color of blue litmus paper turned into red and red litmus paper remained unchanged. After chewing the base food, say tomatoes, the color of blue litmus remains unchanged and the color of red litmus paper turns into blue. Let us now learn about the movement of food from esophagus to stomach. It is technically called peristaltic movement. The soft food that is mixed with saliva passes through esophagus or food pipe to the stomach by a wave-like movement called peristaltic movement. In the stomach, the food gets mixed with gastric juice and HCl, which is in a semi-solid condition. The digestion of food goes on as most proteins are broken down into smaller molecules with the help of enzyme pepsin acting on them. Chyme is the process in which the proteins and carbohydrates of the soft, slimy substance of food are broken down. The food now passes from the stomach to the small intestine, which contains ring-like muscles called as sphincters. These sphincters are responsible for opening the valve so that an only small quantity of the food material enters into the small intestine at a time. Let us learn about the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the alimentary canal. Here, the complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats takes place. Small intestine receives the secretion of liver and pancreas for the purpose of digestion. The process of digesting the fats by converting them into small bubble-like substances with the help of the bile juice that is secreted from liver is called emulsification. Proteins and lipase for fats are digested with the help of enzymes like trypsin present in pancreatic juice. Walls of the small intestine secrete intestinal juice, which helps in breaking down of small molecules of proteins into further smaller molecules. The same process is repeated for fats. The process of digestion of carbohydrate starts in the mouth. It resumes in the stomach when the food is converted into an alkaline form. Here, the enzymes responsible for the breakdown of carbohydrates become active. The table on the screen gives information about different enzymes, digestive juices, and its functions. Let us learn the function of villi in digestive system. The process of transporting the digestion of products from the intestine into blood through the wall of intestine is called absorption. Internally, the intestinal wall contains a number of fingers-like projections called as villi. The villi increases the surface area for absorption. Blood vessels and lymph vessels are present inside the villi in the form of a network. The digestion of products are first absorbed by the villi and then passes into the blood vessels and lymph vessels. With the help of small intestine, the maximum amount of digested food is sent to various parts of the body through blood. Remaining amount of the food material passes to the large intestine. Large intestine reabsorbs maximum amount of water from the remaining food material. This material is then passed through the anus, which is the last part of the alimentary canal. The process of passing of undigested material from the body through the anus is called defecation. Food that comes out from the anus still contains significant amounts of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, roughages or fibers of either carbohydrates or proteins. The flowchart of human digestive system is shown on the screen. Excess or improper intake of food cause health issues with the alimentary canal. Let us learn about all such aspects associated with the alimentary canal. The human alimentary canal exhibits good functionality, though we have some indigestible food like junk food, etc. But at times, the alimentary canal cannot take some food, as a result of which we either feel sick or have indigestion. The human body gets rid of the unwanted and harmful substances present in the stomach through vomiting. When the peristaltic movements of the stomach and esophagus occur in reverse direction, it results in expulsion of the food. Among all the causes of vomiting, the most common cause is overeating, especially the food which has high proportion of fat. Vomiting also occurs when very indigestible and poisonous food is consumed. Bilious or liverish feeling is often due to consumption of rich meals over several days. Liver cannot cope to digest the food which is rich in fats. As a result, we suffer from feeling of nausea and headache sometimes. Indigestion is a general term used when there is difficulty in digesting food. Healthy people do not suffer from indigestion if they follow below mentioned diet. Having simple and well-balanced food, eating them in a leisurely manner, chewing the food thoroughly, avoiding strenuous exercises soon after having food, drinking plenty of water and having regular bowel movements. Humans should learn a lot from the animals which have a good sleep after having food. Indigestion caused by stomach and duodenal ulcers is very severe. This problem is often observed in people who are worried and hurried. So, Ulcers are mostly observed in people habituated to have hurried meals and rush from one work to other and don't have proper sleep. Example, doctors, schoolmasters, members of parliament, stockbrokers, and business executives. The people who maintain a proper diet, have good sleep, and don't tense a lot seldom get ulcers. In order to stay healthy, the bowels ought to be emptied regularly. If the residues of food are present in the colon for much longer time, the bacteria get sufficient time to produce harmful substances which might be absorbed by blood and cause diseases like cancer, etc. Having plenty of roughage, fiber in the diet helps a lot in avoiding constipation. Food deficiency diseases. Food is the main source in order to maintain the biological processes in a perfect manner. To protect our body from food deficiency diseases, proper diet should be taken. That is, the balanced food which contains proper amount of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, mineral salts and fats. 2/3 of the world's population is mainly affected by the food-related diseases. Most of them are facing various types of diseases due to the lack of balanced diet, and some of them are suffering by taking high calorific food. If the food which we intake do not contain required amount of nutrients, then it is called as malnutrition. The reasons for malnutrition in our country are mainly due to poor health, willful starvation, lack of awareness of nutritional habits, socio-economic factors. Malnutrition is of 3 types. They are calorie malnutrition, protein malnutrition, protein calories malnutrition. The harmful effects of malnutrition caused in children are kwashiorkor disease, occurs due to deficiency of proteins in diet. Symptoms: body becomes swollen due to the shortage of water in the intercellular spaces, poor development of muscle, swollen legs, fluffy face, difficult to eat, diarrhea, dry skin. Marasmus occurs due to deficiency of both proteins and calories, and also when there is an immediate second pregnancy or repeated childbirths. Symptoms: lean and weak, swelling limbs, less developed muscles, dry skin, diarrhea, etc. Obesity occurs due to overeating and excess of energy intake. It is a big health hazard. Symptoms: an obese child when grows suffer from diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular, renal and gallbladder. Vitamin deficiency diseases. Vitamins are organic substances that are required in small quantities. Actually, vitamins are not synthesized in the body. Generally, we do not suffer from vitamin deficiency because our body contains 2 sources of vitamins. One is diet and the other is bacteria present in the intestine that synthesize and supply the vitamins. Vitamins are categorized into 2 groups. They are water-soluble vitamins, B complex, vitamin C, fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. Let us study the vitamin available sources and deficiency diseases. The vitamin available sources and deficiency diseases are. Click each tab to know more. Water-soluble vitamin deficiency diseases. Fat-soluble vitamin deficiency diseases. Drawing skills. The drawing section helps you to sketch images in a step-by-step manner. Click each tab to know more.